everybody, and welcome to another MCU movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who had a God in their brain today? Who's with me tonight?
Michael K. Hughes, and maybe you guys should stop saying Seabass.
And I'll get my pants built up.
That was good. Oh God. So
I know.
This is actually
I had nothing else after that. That was really accepted.
I had nothing. I just froze. This is our eighth MCU episode that we're doing. We have, and we are going to be covering the beloved, famous, most popular Thor: The Dark World.
Question mark?
All right.
Yeah.
Sarcasm italics.
I just wanted to build it up so I could. I saw this movie back when it came out, and this came out in 2013, and I remember really liking it in theaters. But then after Iron Man 3 for me in 2013, you could only go up. There was no going down. So I was very excited, and coming to this movie, we'll kind of get into how I felt this time, but. This is also, as Bill was saying before we started recording, just a different director than the guy that you had in the first Thor movie.
Yeah, it's a guy by the name of Alan Taylor, who's done some marvelous films like Terminator Genesis from 2015. He did a movie called Palookaville in '95 that I don't even know what that is. An indie flick called Kill the Poor. His film career is not very varied. However, he did direct episodes for every single incredible HBO television series that ever existed. We're talking Game of Thrones, Sopranos, The Wire, Oz. He is an extremely decorated TV director. He actually won an Emmy for the episode of The Sopranos where Tony kills Christopher in season 6. I adore The Sopranos, so that makes me very happy. But yeah, the guy is a decorated TV director. Not so much in the world of film. So I don't know how much that information that gives us about who this guy is and what he does. Definitely for me feels like he's not fit for this kind of film. And it's almost like, why did Marvel pick him up to do this? He
literally only did 5 movies altogether in his career. He's the 6th one coming. And I think Thor Dark World was number 3. So that's really weird to pick a guy like that.
Yeah, and that 6th one is basically the Sopranos prequel movie, which I'm actually semi-excited about.
Fourth movie. I was wrong. The last movie he ever did was Terminator Genesis.
Right. That was 2015. So yeah, he's not a film guy. And I think it might translate a little bit into this. I don't know if it does. It was just he's not. It doesn't have that kind of experience. And directing TV, even though he did a lot of HBO series like Sex and the City, all that sort of thing. It's very different directing TV than it is in directing film. Just in terms of how you're lighting things, not like it was back in the sitcom days, where everything was just giant, big, bright, top-down lighting. Everything looks like a soundstage. Obviously, HBO dramas are little mini movies. But just the energy of a film, I think, is different, and the focus is different. So I'm
surprised you think they would have went with, maybe at this time they didn't feel like big enough to really go or want to spend the money to go after big directors. So I want to say like most movies after this, they do get pretty big directors for a lot of later movies.
Well, it's interesting. Marvel and comics in general have always they've always seemed to let the newer guy get a chance. They've directed a couple movies that were indie darlings or did reasonably well. Fantastic Four, right? With what's his face who directed that? He did.
How'd that go?
No, not great. Not great at all. But none of the directors in like the Marvel movies are really extremely well known. I have to look through it. I don't remember. But
Joss Whedon was Avengers and Age of Ultron. I don't know if the Russo brothers were really famous before Winter Soldier.
What did the Russo brothers do?
Can't remember, and I don't have it pulled up at the moment. But I mean, because like those are some of the big directors that you had, and I want to say the guy who did Black Panther, his name is escaping me at the moment. He was a big director. I mean, he's definitely a big director now. I can't remember if he was back then or not.
I don't know. I don't remember. I do have the entire world of information literally at my fingertips right now. I could.
Okay, well, for the Russo brothers, their 3rd movie was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So no, they didn't do a lot before that.
Oh yeah, director of Black Panther was Ryan Coogler. That guy. Yeah. What? No, he is. But I'm saying they don't pick like big name directors. I don't know why, and it's interesting. Maybe it's. Well, I also wonder if it's because Marvel movies are such huge. Just time sinks, right? Well, does a major director really have that kind of time to dedicate to the oversight that a Marvel movie is going to require?
Plus, Plus, with Tony Stark, they spent so much $1 million on Tony Stark, they got to cut the
Right.
budget somewhere with these movies.
Oh, Ryan Coogler did Creed and the new Rocky stuff. Okay, so there you go. He's done some stuff.
Oh, that it?
Yeah, he did co-wrote and directed the Creed. Then he did Black Panther. And then before
Okay.
that, he did a movie called Fruitville Station, which is supposedly very good. I've never seen
Oh,
it.
so he was pretty new at the time too. Okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
all new.
they-
They're all they do 1 or 2 movies, and then Marvel snatches them up. I don't know. Yeah, I guess to give him a shot, maybe a different voice. I don't know. But it's very interesting how they select their directors.
I know with the original Thor, when they picked Chris we forgot to mention in the first Thor episode, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, I want to say were new actors at the time that they were kind of taking a gamble on.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth really didn't do much. Oh, by the way, how's his face this time around?
His
Just gotta
face is
ask.
fine.
It's good.
Face
Got a
is
good
good.
face. Good.
And the eyebrow, I mean, it's the eyebrows in that first movie. Everything else since then, they got it down pat. He looks fine, but his hair's a little scraggly, but it fits the movie. But yeah, his face is fine. There's not
Face
too
is
much
good.
makeup. We're all good.
Okay. All right. Good.
I remember seeing one of those posts that like, oh, this post didn't age well. And it was saying something where Marvel took a chance for the first Thor hiring Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth. Because at that time, Chris Hemsworth had only been in 3 movies before that. Star Trek and one little cameo. A Perfect Getaway and Cash. Whatever the hell those are. So,
Okay.
he wasn't known.
No, none of these guys really are, and guys and gals. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, but I guess back to Thor, right?
Yeah,
Because
we
he
should.
directed a movie that exists in this world, and it's a thing. It's just there. Hello, movie.
The other thing, like, this is the first movie in the MCU sequel wise where they ditch the numbers. They just go, and I love the fact that every movie is just like Thor: The Dark World or Avengers: Age of Ultron. Every sequel just has a subtitle, and I love that better than just a 2 or a 3 where you can feel like you can just watch the movie without feeling, well, I didn't see the first Jurassic Park, so I can't watch Jurassic Park 2. That same idea.
Yeah, that is a neat concept. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, having that kind of like continuity without it being properly numbered is a smart move.
I mean,
It's weird how they did it for the Iron Man movies and then dropped it for
Well,
everything else.
yeah, I think Iron Man was just because it was so early and that was still a thing in the early 2000s. But where you get by the time this comes out in 2013, I feel like a lot of sequels do that now. Like Jurassic World, not Jurassic World 2 is Jurassic World, some other bullshit subtitle. Like that's become the thing. That movie sucks. So I'm not.
I think that was actually the subtitle, some other bullshit.
That first half of that movie is great. Then you just cut off the movie and you're done. That's it. You don't need to watch and go to the mansion. You don't need any of that.
I hated Jurassic World, so I didn't even bother to see the sequel.
That's okay. First one. If you hate the first one, you're gonna hate the sequel because the first one's better.
Gotcha.
Oh, jeez.
So it just, I feel like it might have been a thing in that time. I like it. I'm much happier with it.
Well, hey, my favorite trilogy of all comics, the Blade trilogy, as we will hopefully one day discuss.
We'll get there.
It was Blade 1, Blade 2, and then Blade Trinity, which is it's not a great movie. But the other two more to make up for it in all its camp and gloriousness.
You wait until we get there. I really like Blade Trinity from what I remember, but we'll see.
I'll watch it again. I'm down for Wesley Snipes. I'm always down.
So, like with Thor: The Dark World, we should get there. It kind of starts off with another monologue, like in the first Thor movie, where you have Anthony Hopkins' character Odin doing a monologue about how the Dark Elves were wiped out by his father, and they were trying to destroy the universe or something crappy like that. And I like it because you don't really have need to see the first movie to really watch this movie. You don't even need to see Avengers to really enjoy this movie. Like they'll give you the key points you need. That's another thing I think is so cool is that you're kind of dropped into this universe and they kind of explain the universe. They explain, that the different realms. It's a little confusing, but the information is there to get you in without having to feel like you have no idea what's happening. I am not a fan of the elves.
They're silly looking.
Their masks are freaky.
Yeah. Well, the masks are pretty cool. I think the curse design is very cool. They're just really, really neat. It's a good setup. Again, this is kind of like the backstory that you need to kind of get the ball rolling. And 9 worlds in alignment. Talk about the convergence. Of course, the elves lose. He sacrifices all his elf bros just to leave. I didn't get that bit, but again, I could. Yeah.
Kills all his species of people, so that way it's a distraction to wipe out their army so he can fly away.
Yeah, it's a good open. You got some fancy fighting, and you got all sorts of words and stuff I don't understand. That's gonna create some mystery for me, and I thought it was neat. It was a nice opening.
It doesn't try to explain itself very well, but it works. I mean, like I mean, I already seen this movie, so I knew where they were going. But I'm like, okay, like I'm on board. It's cool action. It's a cool scene. I had no problems with it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Malekith is from the comics, by the way. In case
Okay, is he?
He is a comic character, one of Thor's villains. I can't remember what year, but he's been around for a while. Really well known, but I knew who he was.
What'd you think of the open mic?
It's fine. Like you guys said, it serves the purpose of opening the movie. But yeah, I have it in my notes as the Dark Elves and Nope masks. Because yeah, just Nope. They remind me of the creepy mannequins from Condemned.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it is a good way to put it.
They are like those masks are fucking creepy, and like the curse is the idea that they have like a little stone that they grab the stone, squish it, and then they get all like infected with this power, which I felt like it was at least the way I saw it until later in this movie, that once you did it was like a death sentence. Like, yes, you get power, but you're only alive for so long before you're done.
I don't know. They don't explain it too much. They just kind of explain it as they're fighting, and then I think before they die, they have to do it, because that's how the big cursed bad becomes the way he is. I think if they're about to die on battle, they can crush the stone, and it gives them kind of like phase 2. It brings them back to life. So basically an undead. I kept writing undead, which is basically what it is.
Because I didn't think about that, but you're right. They only, like, when you see the opening scene, they only do it when they're getting massacred or injured. Maybe not. I can't remember.
And then we'll see that when Malekith's right hand man, they want him to become a curse, so he stabs him. So Malekith stabs his buddy, and then as about to die, he does that crush. Well, actually, does it? We'll get there.
I thought he did it to hide it. We'll get there.
But you're right. You're right, to hide it. That's correct. You're right. It was to hide it.
Yeah, they searched the body, but they didn't actually, search the wounds.
Well, we'll get there, but yeah.
So, I mean, after you have like this monologue and it kind of shows, and you get the title card pretty early.
Yes.
I try to, because I know that in the Marvel movies, sometimes they don't do the title card till way later for some reason.
Yeah, no, we get our title.
And I mean, it was, I was on board. Like I was enjoying the intro to this movie, and even like when you go to present day, the first time you see Loki in Change, which makes sense. It's direct, continuation of what happened in Avengers, but at the same time, it's not like you don't have to see Avengers to know what happened. Like they give you the context really quick to find out, yeah, he killed a lot of people, he did terrible things, like he deserves this. Like they do a very good job of that real quick.
Yeah, and they also, the neat thing about this too is that we're post Avengers, and we're post the world being taken over by Marvel movies. So everybody at this point knows who Loki is. Even if you've never seen a movie, you've seen a cardboard cutout at Target, you've seen your son's friends wear a shirt. They've now all become part of the public consciousness. Loki probably the least, but he was a major part of Avengers. So, I mean, most people now understand it. The movie does not need to rehash what happened. We'll drop him right here. But you're right. If you come in completely blind, you see this villainous looking dude in chains, you go, there's a villain. Hi, bad guy. But yeah.
I feel sorry for the people that came into the MCU of Thor Dark World. What a weird jumping off point.
I mean, I'm sure it was somebody's first movie for the MCU.
Well, yeah, everyone has a first. I hope Endgame wasn't first. I hope you caught up a little bit before seeing the one entitled Endgame.
Endgame is one of the only movies you cannot watch that movie and just watch it. Or Infinity. Well, Infinity War kind of, but not Endgame at all.
Amen.
But I like seeing Loki in chains. Like I like that whole thing with his mother leaves, and he's like, "Oh, we were gonna kill you, but she didn't want to kill you, so you're going to prison. We're gonna imprison you for life." Like I liked all that. I thought all that was very, very well done. And then, what you guys think of the whole Vanaheim thing, where after that it teleports, it shows you, and it shows them all fighting on like some fantasy world type of thing?
I'll let you take that one, Mike.
All right, so I'm gonna be upfront about this movie. Like, it's ultimately forgettable. Like, rewatching it, it's like, I don't remember any of this. And having finished the movie last night, I'm like, wow, I didn't retain much information at all. I don't remember most of this movie except for the major plot points. So, like, I have Vanaheim in my notes too, because it kept sounding like they were saying Anaheim, but I don't remember any bit of that scene. Oh yeah, he ends up fighting like the golem thing at the end.
Yes, which is a reference to the first comic.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Is that what I figured it had to be, because it made no sense and it was dumb. Yeah, it was dumb. It was just boring.
Journey to Mystery 83, the first monster that he's ever fight are the rock monsters that you see standing there. Also, I want to say that species is the same as you see in Thor Ragnarok with Korg, I think.
Korg. Yeah, that's what I had in my notes. Like, is this Korg species?
I love that part. That whole, like, I remember in theaters, I really thought that part was cool. Now it's a little off, but you get to see the, God, what the hell did we call them back in Thor? Like the friendly, Phil, you had a name for them.
Oh, his good bros? Yeah.
The good bros.
His team of good bros and one gal. I started writing Team Thor. I realized there was just good bros and one gal was just too much to handle. So they're
Not
Team
wrong.
Thor now.
So the good bros show up, and I like seeing them fight with Thor and I like seeing them fight. And like one thing interesting to me is like you see other species, you see not just random characters who are living in this world in a different realm. Like I thought all that was very cool and kind of drew me into this movie. Like when like Thor shows up and you have like the he kills the leader in like one shot, just breaks him.
Yeah,
I like that.
This is a good reestablishment of his friends, and what they can do and their powers. This is all this is. It's as far as an action scene goes, it's fine. It's well executed. I'm never a big fan of just being dropped in some place I don't understand or have context to. So all of a sudden just dropped into a battle. You're like, oh, fighting time now. Okay. And then you watch some fighting time, but you don't have really any I didn't have any connection to it because I'm like, where are they? What are they fighting for? And then I kind of just realized, oh, they're just defending one of the realms. Cool.
Yeah,
So let me watch Rapier Man, let me watch D'Artagnan over here.
Which is a different actor
Carry
now.
away.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not the same guy from Thor 1. It's
I didn't even notice.
Like I actually paused and I'm like, yep, that's Zachary Levi with the weird eyebrows and a mustache and a goatee.
Because the original actor was on what's that show? Fairy Tale show, ABC.
Once Upon a Time?
Yes, he's the prince in Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he couldn't come back for Thor Dark World, so they get Shazam instead.
Wow. Okay. I see. Wow. I didn't even catch it. It was fine. Good. He did a fine job as being a dashing man of daring do.
Yeah, he's also in Thor Ragnarok, and then that's the end of it.
And who's the lady warrior in this? I always forget her name.
Her name is Sif, but the actor's name is Jamie Alexander.
Okay, Jamie Alexander. Okay. Well, Sith is awesome. And everyone gets their time. Everyone gets their time. Everyone gets a little bit of time to show off what they can do. Yeah. It's a pretty successful little intro scene. I just found it to be pretty bland. Everything in this movie is on a very steady kind of ho-hum trajectory. It's not boring. It's just there it is. That scene's over. It's a big flat line for me. With a couple of very cool spikes.
But some parts you really didn't like that I can't wait to talk about, certainly.
Which is fine.
It just kind of goes back and forth. Like this movie, one thing I kept thinking as I was watching this is like everybody's like Thor and Jane are always mopey. Like Thor just wins the battle and they're having like a little training thing, and his father's like, "Oh, you're gonna be king soon." And he's just like, "I miss Jane. I miss Jane. Who cares about that beautiful woman over there? I miss Jane." Like I'm like, okay, I understand, but
they got to talk about the huge payoff of that romance they set up in the first movie.
Sure. Yeah,
no
that beautifully crafted romance that everyone just is shipping at this point. No,
hot guy.
Yes,
and girl who just
Nordic
broke
man.
up. That's all it was.
Hot Nordic man on the rebound.
Better love story than Twilight.
I've never seen them, and I feel like I don't need to. I can shuffle off this mortal coil without ever doing so. So.
Challenge accepted.
Don't say that. Don't make that noise, which means we're gonna do it one day. No,
probably not. But they're good movies.
We want to lose half our fan base.
We'll see. And then like when you first so after you have Mopey Thor, the first time you see Jane, I love Natalie Portman. I got to say that first. I mean, this movie, but I love Natalie Portman in most things. And like one thing I did notice, like she is like really really thin in this movie, like super thin, like too thin. Like I noticed that when I was watching this, I was trying to see because she did Black Swan not that long before this. That was 2010. So I was wondering if maybe like because of Black Swan, she'd lost a lot of weight and still was still in that like kind of I don't know the word I'm looking for, in that shape for when she did this movie.
It's possible.
Yeah, possible. I didn't catch it. Yeah,
my wife caught it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
She's really thin.
Yeah, the one thing I did like about going back to Asgard was it was pretty interesting. Him unable to celebrate.
Yeah.
He can't. That's the scene, right? Because they're all hanging out. And his Team Thor. They're all drinking and eating, celebrating, and D'Artagnan's got 2 women on his arm. Like, hey, look at me, I'm ravishing. And it's interesting. He just can't get into it because he's constantly thinking of Jane. I really thought it was interesting. Odin was basically like, just forget about her. What's the matter with you? You have Jamie Alexander sitting right there, giving you the eyeballs. Would you stop? This mortal is going to live maybe a best case scenario 100 years, and but it's again, it's part of this saggy. It's all saggy, and it's hard because you can't really, or I can't really connect to his emotions and his desire to be back with Jane if that wasn't set up initially. And if you're new to this, you're going, who the hell is Jane? What are you complaining about? Who's this Jane character? Because you haven't seen her yet. We haven't gone to London when she's on the bad date with the guy from whatever that show is.
Oh, he's from a show. Oh, he was somebody famous then or something?
Yeah, he's a relatively...
Yeah, he looked kind of familiar.
I didn't recognize him at all.
But
that part was kind of funny, like just where she's sitting there reading the menu and he's like, you've been staring at the menu for 7 minutes. There's only 3 items. Like that was kind of funny. And I do love when Darcy shows up. He's like, can you get us a bottle of wine? She's like, I would love that. And she sits down and he's like, that's Darcy. Like,
her outfit made him think that she was the waitress with her like heavy overcoat on. It's like, clearly this woman is here to take our order.
That did not. I'm a big fan of Darcy in this movie. So I'm a big fan of Darcy in general for the 2 movies. But
Bill was the big dejector on Darcy the last movie. What are your feelings this time around?
Yeah, she hasn't improved. She
has less. I feel like she had less lines in this one than she did in the first movie.
Did. No, but she was ever present. I don't like saying this kind of stuff, but I'm just not a fan of the character. I understand why she's there. She's kind of like not even quirky. Like, what's her character? She's annoying. Like, she's just there to annoy everybody and get in the way and not do anything useful. Like,
you're not wrong.
She doesn't do anything useful. She has no utility. She is like, I don't know. She's like an Allen wrench that you don't need in your toolbox, and you got it from IKEA. And you're like, well, I'll never need this dumb thing again. Well, here it is. I can't get rid of Allen wrenches. I have 50 of them. She is the 50th Allen wrench.
She's just there for comic relief kind of thing.
Yeah. I wonder if she's meant to be like the audience surrogate, because Jane explained stuff to her a lot. Like, hey, these things do this science crap. Like, okay, now the audience knows.
Kind of like the replacement. That makes sense. That's fair.
That's a good way to put it. That's probably why she's there, because that's all she really does. And she made me laugh though. So I mean that's something.
Yeah, she has a few good lines.
She has a couple good lines. I'm not gonna completely say she was pointless. I just found her very annoying, and I wasn't feeling the way that character was portrayed or how it was directed. Again, she barges in on this date, and she's on a date with Chris O'Dowd, and there it's very awkward, and she can't help. She's obviously very distracted. You can assume it's Natalie Portman's first date. I'll just say Jane. It's Jane's first date since, Thor went away, although it's been 2 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah, you think after 2 years you would have, I mean, I know some people don't, but it's like, I mean, the guy you didn't even not like you known him for years. He came down, you knew him for a week that first movie happened, if even that, and then he's gone. Yeah. You think you would be able to it was a hot fling we had. Okay, not all the love of my life left me after a week. I don't know. Yeah,
not many people are pining for the person they met for literally 2 days.
I probably only was 2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, didn't you say that whole Thor section was within a week combined with other movies? And
that was a long time ago, but yes, I I probably have. I just can't remember. But yeah, I mean, Hulk, Iron Man 2, and Thor, and the opening of Captain America, or when they find Captain America, that's all in that 1 week. So,
yeah, so it's not like she's known him since high school. He's the Nordic man who that she was really into, and you can fall in love easy like that, but 2 years. I don't know. Also, it's not earned. There it is. It's not earned.
And she's an intelligent character.
Thor. It's not earned. She's smart. But that doesn't matter.
Astrophysicist. She's not. I feel like she's not going to be somebody. She's not a young, teenager who's going to think, oh, at the end of the world, like, no, you're just going to, accept what happened and moved on, like that. That kind. Like, I didn't think about it much, but now that we're analyzing, I'm like, okay, that's a little stupid.
Yeah, no, I that's fair too. She's not in high school. That's fair. Mike, what did you think of Darcy? I don't know if I ever got your take.
Hill. That's where that came from.
Darcy's fine. But on this Jane subject, like, I kind of see where she's coming from, because like every guy that she does date, she's going to compare to Thor, because he's like a literal god that, I mean, even if they just hooked up the one time or whatever, she's still going to compare every future relationship to this guy that no one else can possibly live up to. So like, I give her a pass. 2 years is a long time, but I don't know. He must have left some kind of impression on her.
I'm sure. I mean, yes. if you have a little hanky panky with the god of thunder, I suspect that would leave a scar or two.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I that's fine. Again, it's just emotionally from a filmmaking standpoint, it's not an earned relationship. So
Yeah,
I can't be with Thor on this and be like, dude, he got a lot of other things going on here, man.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and just like everything, like, you know, where you have them driving in a car and you have, oh, he's my intern's intern. Like, okay, it was kind of like he plays a part in that movie. I don't even remember his name. The intern guy. What the hell was his name?
Ian.
He just. I mean, that shows you how much of an impact he played on me. I couldn't even remember his name, and I was trying. Like,
he does nothing. Well, he does literally nothing except for save the life of the most annoying person in the movie.
He moves the plot, is what he does.
Not even. No, he's
not really.
He's the comedy relief for Darcy to yell at because when you So he is there. Okay, we're really stuck on this, but that's fine. We can,
okay.
We can do that. She is that. He is there, Ian. We haven't been introduced yet, but we'll get there. He is there for Darcy to annoy and subjugate when Jane isn't there. When Jane is off doing whatever else, or for a while because she's not physically there. This is my intern. He's just comic relief, and he's like the straight man to Darcy's jibes and jabs at him. It's not good.
It just didn't.
But it's not one of the things that ruin a movie. But it doesn't ruin a movie, but it doesn't add anything either. This is not additive material.
No, I mean, and even like we were kind of talking about, even when Darcy comes in, she shows the reason why she comes in. She's showing Jane that they found these readings that they haven't seen since the first Thor movie, which was 2 years ago, I think. At this point, they say, 2 years. We said already. What am I? And like that was at least it gave a point. But like the whole to get where I'm going with this, like when they go to the warehouse, that whole scene, like I enjoy the scene where they ripped off Portal. I forgot about it, but I enjoyed it. I was.
Well, you're in the midst of playing it now.
Yeah, that too. Check out episode 73 if you haven't listened to it yet. So, but that whole everything with that was just fun. Like where you find this warehouse where physics aren't right, and there's containers like containers from a cargo ship that are upright and a truck upturned, and they find kids that have found this and are playing with gravity. Like that all made sense that there'd be a bunch of kids running around who found this, using it to just do whatever. Like they're dropping a can into a hole, and then it appears and it goes into a portal and then it pops out somewhere else. Like all that, I was on board with it. I didn't question. I'm like, okay, I get it for some reason. I just was on board.
Yeah, so. This is the first time the movie gets actually interesting, as opposed to either just a fight, which is fun on a visceral level. But this is actually interesting. It's very good. I think the way they lead into the gravity thing is very smart, like you said, with the containers upright.
Yeah, like it gets you wondering. So
yeah,
you're telling me you weren't interested when you got to see naked Eric Selvig running around Stonehenge? That didn't grab your attention immediately?
We will get. I think I have one of these an episode. We'll get to Eric and the shameful way this movie treats him.
Yes.
And treats mental illness in general. So I really think this is very effective though. This is the containers. What's really great about the containers being upright is it's an object that you recognize. So for me, I didn't even notice until that shot was almost over. I was like, oh, they're upright. Oh, wow. At first I didn't notice. I just see containers, but my brain assumes containers should be vertical or horizontal rather.
Well, also they're so heavy that there's not a lot of things that could move them like that. I mean, Thor could, but there's not a lot of things that could do that in a normal everyday world.
Right. It's a normal everyday thing that has been askew. That shouldn't. It's a normal everyday thing that is not as it should be, and that's interesting. Like, ooh, okay. Go in. They see the floating car. He turns the car. Okay, and then my brain, I've seen this twice, I think, at this point. Oh, that's right. This is the gravity thing. And yeah, the portal is very fun. I thought it was even a little cute when the guy throws his keys. When Ian throws his keys into it.
Why?
He's an idiot, and he's an idiot and useless.
I mean,
comic relief.
It's just like, in what world would you think I'm going to put my keys in there? Like, I was just like, why would you drop the key? I mean, it's only there so she can go, you dropped the keys. Why the key? Like, I'm like, it's not, you wouldn't do that. Like, I don't care how dumb you are. You're not going to drop your keys into a portal.
Yeah. For the purpose of the movie though, it does come back around.
Yes. But
yeah, it does pay off. Yeah. Things do pay off in this movie.
But yeah, you're right. It does. I mean, it did pay off. So I'm complaining to complain right now. So, and like the whole thing where Jane ends up getting sucked into a portal to where the ether, because in what we forgot to mention, but back in the monologue in the beginning of this movie, they mentioned how the ether was destroyed, or they thought it was destroyed, but it actually was hidden somewhere, and apparently it was hidden somehow inside the Earth or something, or somewhere. I didn't get that, or maybe because the worlds were connecting in this place that it was connected, that it was somewhere else she was able to get to it.
That makes sense. Yeah, the convergence maybe kind of lined up enough that this door opened up.
Well, that's what I thought it was. It was basically, the convergence was close to happening. So here's this little portally thing that does this thing. And they don't explain it very much. A lot of this, you don't have to. You kind of just like kick it up in the air and go, all right, well, it's a portal now.
I was okay with it not being explained.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Too much.
Although it's pretty funny that when they mentioned the Aether in the very, very beginning, if you've seen a movie in the last, 100 years, if something's mentioned at the very beginning, it's probably going to be important later. We got rid of the magic stones. Garrett, guess what? Act 2, magic stones, right there. Boom. There they are. That's how movies work.
That's how I was thinking about it. If you wouldn't have infected Jane with the ether, you wouldn't have to have Jane at all in this movie. You could just skip her completely. Unnecessary. Her only point is to carry the ether around so she can be a part of the movie with Thor.
And look doe-eyed at Thor. That's another piece that's very important.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And fits seamlessly into Asgardian society without so much of a thought. Like, oh, great, I'm glad you got me some custom-fitted robes.
I did have one thing that was kind of random, like when she wakes up the ether, for some reason, the elves, wherever the hell they are, another dimension, they wake up too when she touches the ether. Like, to me, that was a little, I guess because like it does feel like everything in their ship is powered by the ether, so I guess maybe that had something to do with it, like it was connected in a way.
I guess I didn't really get it during the movie itself. I kind of wondered, like, why are they waking up? Is he connected to the ether in any way? How come he has been looking for it this whole time? Did the spaceship just assume it was gone? Like, it was just buried. It was buried under and it wasn't buried terribly far or terribly hard. You know what I mean? Like, you could have gotten there because everyone in this movie just gets to the Dark World. So yeah, I didn't quite get that either. Yeah, what'd you think? What'd you think, Mike? Yeah.
It reminded me of the pirate gold in the first Pirates movie. That, like, as soon as it touches the ocean, the pirates just kind of know where to find it.
Sorry,
nothing to add. It just
no. I was muted. I was commenting. I just didn't speak. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Kind of like a homing beacon, something sort of thing. It was activated by seeing this host person and globbed onto this host person,
like a symbiote. It really gave me Carnage symbiote vibes when it like latches onto her.
Oh yeah, which is cool. The particle effects are cool. The little rock thing it's living in is pretty neat. Yeah, all of this is pretty nifty.
And I do like they give a reason to why Thor does come down to Earth finally. The only thing that was weird to me, like, he could have came down all this time. I know he explains it, but like he didn't visit her once. Yet she's crazy in love with this guy who's just been. And like that whole thing where he's talking to Heimdall, and Heimdall's like, I can't see her. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's there. Like all this time. And he's just like, isn't it a little creepy that here he's been watching her, making sure she's safe. The moment she's gone, I better go check on her. Oh. Oh, no. Like I did like it when she first sees him and she runs over to him and she just slaps him. Like, oh, I didn't know if you were real. And she slaps him again. She's like, oh, that's for not seeing me. Like, I'm like, okay.
Don't they kiss? That. I think they kiss like initially. Like as soon as they see each other, they have a kiss, and then she slaps him. Like, really? Okay.
It's very out of character. It's extremely out of character for her. Like, you've never seen her lash out in any sort of like anger or anything. Not saying she doesn't have the capacity to, but it just seems very out of place. It seems very movie. It's a movie thing to do. Yeah. That's a scripty thing. Like, you embrace in a kiss and then you slap him once and slap him again.
Okay, that's
very written.
You know, you made that scene a lot dumber than I originally felt all of a sudden. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But you're not wrong. Like, because I mean, Jane is, like we said before, he's supposed to be such intelligent character. They make her kind of stupid in a way. It is one of those things.
She's the damsel in this movie. That's her role.
Yeah, and
she's the girl.
I don't like that with Jane, with Natalie Portman in general, because she doesn't come off to me as like a damsel type character.
Right. That's a very good point, Mike. She's definitely like the damsel in this that everyone needs to rescue. Which, I don't know. We're at this point in the Marvel and movie universe in general where that doesn't have to be the trope. So
no, and she's such a powerful actor.
Right.
I mean, she's somebody you can do so much more with than just make her the damsel in distress.
Right.
Like, they tried to subvert it by making her this hyper intelligent character, but then they just throw in that role anyway.
Yeah, it just feels a little unnecessary for her. But I understand it. This is still early when they're still trying to figure out what they're doing with the MC. I mean, yes, they've already done 8 movies in MCU, but they're still figuring out what they're doing. They haven't really gotten the formula completely down pat yet. That's coming. Well, I'll take it. It's just and then they go to Asgard. Like I'm okay. They just teleport to Asgard. Like, you know what? I had no question, no problem. It made sense. The road came and they went. Like, I was okay with that. I didn't wonder why she was just putting their hand out for quarters and just appeared there. Like, I was okay.
So just to kind of back up to Earth a little bit, because what happens is we see Thor, go to Earth, obviously, and Darcy calls the cops, which I guess would make sense because, your friend's been gone for 5 hours. Probably want to call the cops. Why would the cops help? Again, Darcy just being annoying. And then they have a scene. I think this is the scene where it's raining, but only raining around them.
Yeah, because the cop tries.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
the cop tries to arrest her, and they get hit with this like red blast, and knocks them all back, and then it starts raining. I might have that backwards, but
no, it is backwards because they're standing there and they realize, wait, the rain is raining all around. The rain is falling all around them. Very cool. This is a very cool notion of what is now inside of her. It's a visual representation. Something's up with her. Something's inside her. It's now gravitationally activated, whatever. There's a couple good examples of that. And of course, when the cop touches her arm to arrest her, she explodes them all, and away they go.
Oh yeah, that does play such a big part throughout this story, throughout this movie too.
Yeah,
except it doesn't do it when Thor touches her.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like maybe it's like it has to be a hostile force or something.
He only has love.
That's a good point. You're right. It doesn't do that with Thor. So
it's the power of love.
That song better not be in my head for the rest of the day. Just so you know, that better not. I don't want to know what that is.
Yeah, just go watch Back to the Future. It'll be good for you.
That will be good for me.
So the whole reason, and after that, that's when Thor realized she has something is in her. I don't think he realizes what it is yet because he wasn't aware of the ether. If I'm remembering correctly. And then they finally go bring her to Asgard, and this is where you have like the whole. This is kind of where they really kind of focus on the idea that Asgard isn't magic. It's just a scientific that we don't understand. Like you have like the doctors looking at her and she makes a comment saying, is that a quantum something? She's like, no, it's a soul forge. She's like, does it do this? Well, yeah, it's a quantum. Like I like that. I liked her being, kind of cool like that.
Yeah. It's like that line in the first movie where Thor says, we have magic, you call it science. And I'm from somewhere that's like, it's the same thing, more or less.
But it's good. It's good to see Jane Foster not being a mopey character and actually being showing intelligence and not just, oh God, Thor left me. But I guess now Thor's back, she can be intelligent again.
Well, yeah, her boy's back, so there it is. I mean, yeah, no, it's fine. And they're going through it. They're explaining. Now we're explaining to everyone, including the audience, about how this kind of works. I think they go. Is this where they go to the bookshelf? And Odin explained,
the story book.
Which I really liked. It was cool. Yeah, I was super into it.
Every time I see those elves masks, they just something about a pure white mask with black eyes just creeps me the fuck out. I know what I'm being for Halloween. There you go. It just freaks me out. You can, but nobody will know what you're talking about. And they'll be like, what the fuck is that guy costuming from? What movie is that? They won't know.
Creepy. No, this is good. Again, this is the knowledge dump. Okay, now we know what the Aether is and what it's supposed to do. It changes dark matter. And
I'm okay with the way they do it. It was really cool that the way they expose it and tell the audience, but also tell the characters. I was completely on board with it. It made sense.
Indeed. Oh, and the other neat little thing on this is they think the Dark Elves are gone.
Yeah, they think they're all dead.
All gone.
But not a problem. You can fit a lot of Dark Elves in one ship. I found out throughout this movie. Because only one ship survived the annihilation, but there's a lot of fuckers in that one ship. What?
It's a big-ass ship.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. They kill a lot of Dark Elves in this movie, and there's a lot more coming. So, but I guess. Maybe it's like a colony ship. Like the idea you see in science fiction where you have giant ships that would have hundreds of thousands of people living on this ship. Because it's like a city.
My wife commented it. She said it looked like the Mass Effect ships.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do. That's a good way to put it.
I kept calling it the sword ship because it looks like a giant sword.
Kind of does.
Hey, listen, that's better than what did I call a thing in Avengers, the space slug? So hey, listen, it's better than space slug. So let's just get that out there.
I'm okay with that. But I liked it when you see that all earlier when you had the battle scene and they're arresting all these hoodlums, and you have them all these warriors being brought into the prison inside Asgard, and they're locking everybody up. Like I like that because things are coming. Like you have Loki in a jail cell, where this is going, because earlier you'd already had the scene where the guy had shoved the little ether stone into the other guys and put a helmet on him and disguised him to look like the other barbarian type people. So that all was really cool, I thought. And I love everything with Loki in this. Loki, just Tom Hiddleston's such a great actor. Like in the part where you have him in his cell and he's talking to his mother, and it's all an illusion. Like all that was really cool to see.
Well, the first thing though is, how did that guy get on the ship? Like how? I understand that.
The elf, the way it kind of seems, and the way maybe my brain just created this, was that they dropped him off somewhere where the battle was, and he just got arrested with the rest of them.
Yeah, that would have been good to see, because when he saunters onto the ship into the prison, like my thought was, you don't see him in chains. I don't remember you do, at least initially. And he's just walking down the aisle with Team Thor. Like they never show they never show how he actually gets into the custody of Team Thor. So I watched it like, how is he there? Like what, how, why? It was baffling to me and very annoying. I'm like,
you're making me like this movie less and less the more we talk about it.
I don't mean to ruin your joy.
Okay.
You're allowed
to ruin it.
I'm not trying to ruin anything. That didn't make sense. I was trying to connect the dots. I hope maybe there are dots I missed. I don't think there are. No, he just shows up on the ship, and then they put him in the jail cell. He's like, oh, he's now a prisoner, but how did he get there? And this is actually probably one of the big problems with this movie as well. And when we get to the end, that whole cluster, it's so rushed. Like there are giant chunks of the thing just cut out of this movie. Like there had to have been a scene where he actually got captured. They drop into a battle, like you said, with the 9 realms. They're kind of polishing all that up, and he gets taken somehow on purpose.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
never see that though, and that's not good.
If it was written somewhere and they're like, we don't got time for that, because
maybe I don't know. Mike, did I miss something, or I don't know? What did you think?
Speaking of missing dots, like I apparently checked out of this scene because I don't remember most of this scene. Like as you guys described, I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember that, and then I remember the guy activating the curse stone, and then Loki tells him to take the stairs on the left, and that's pretty much it for this scene. So I have nothing to add. Super professional operation I'm running here.
No, that's fine. Thank you for your commitment to the craft. I appreciate it. No,
I mean that's just kind of this movie. It's one of those movies where if I wouldn't have taken notes like like we did for the Iron Man or Hulk, I'd have been like, I would have
glazed over a lot. Yes, you're right.
This movie is not really memorable.
Yeah, it's just ultimately forgettable.
Yes,
it is extraordinarily forgettable. You're exactly right. If I wasn't intentionally watching this looking for things, I probably would have just stared at it slack-jawed and chomp popcorn or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when you're driving, you kind of space out and be like, okay, how did I get here? Like you're just going through the motions. Like,
yeah. I mean, I do really love like the Berserk elf when you have the guy in the prison and he grabs into his wound, pulls out the stone, crushes the stone. I enjoy all this. Yeah. The prison break, and you have the guards rushing in. You have Loki just watching, and at one point the elf, after he breaks out all their prisoners, he walks over to where Loki looks at him and just keeps going. Like
it's very funny.
I like that he doesn't let him out.
I like that a lot too. I like that. I like the movie didn't take the obvious turn, because that would have been the obvious. Oh, here he is to break out Loki. Looks at him and just turns and probably says to himself, "You're not going to help me much." And then Loki, of course, being Loki, goes, "Take the stairs to the left," which is very good. And he looks back and then turns back. That whole scene's great. I really do like it. I think it shows that the Asgardian army shows vulnerability. Because up to this point, we've seen nothing but victories and successes and champions and warriors and Odin going, "We'll fight to the last Asgardian blood drop." And
oh yeah, he's kind of psycho in this movie a little bit, like just a fool, because this one elf ship is really fucking up what should be an entire planet, but it's really fucking them up.
Yeah, and it's Thor is now trying to be reasonable, and actually, Thor is saying, "Take the fight to them. Let's protect our realm." And Odin is almost stuck into this probably antiquated notion that his army is invincible, when clearly they're not. Like a bunch of rabble that they scrounged up from the depths of the 9 realms just soundly trounced them and got out of the jail. I mean, again, there was like 3 guards and 15 dudes, but still.
But you have everybody rushing. You get to see, like, I do like the part where the stealth ship shows up and Heimdall's like, wait a second. And the whole, he's shocked that he didn't see it coming. Like, he couldn't see this. And he jumps on the ship. Like, that was cool, where he stabs it with a knife.
Cool. Yes, it's very cool.
Idris Elba was great. I'm
a fan.
And I enjoy the ship battles. I enjoy when you see little fighters come out and they're shooting at it with their other flying ships. Like, all that to me was just, it would have probably looked a lot better on the big screen, but it was just cool to see. Like, it had my attention. It's just actiony to be actiony.
Yeah.
No, but it was fun. It was cool. Like the dog fighting. You're talking about the dog fighting.
Oh yeah.
The ships. Yeah, that's cool. I'm really into that. I like dog fighting. So it was fun and it's exciting. Again, you're showing that Asgard is not invincible. Although I will say one of the silliest bits of this that was not intended to be silly, but was extremely funny to me, was Idris Elba, puts the sword in and activates the giant shield, the shield of Asgard, and it goes, and you even see a couple of planes bouncing off it, exploding, and you're like, oh, sweet, a shield. Then all of a sudden, the cursed walks up to the giant spinny glowy thing and just smashes it.
Yeah, that it also helped. It was funny. It also
really
helped
funny.
kind of lead like why he was in there. Like, I was like, why the hell did you put this guy in there? Like, what was your plan? And then it kind of shows you that was the plan, was to bring him in so he could take down the shield, I guess. But
no, I don't know. I just got it as movie doing movie ass things.
Okay, because I was thinking, now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking to myself, they wouldn't have known about the shield because they're from thousands of years ago.
Exactly. Right. They wouldn't know about the shield.
Okay,
how would this barely sentient monster know where it is? I'm sure Loki's comment of stairway on the left didn't help. I'm sure there's thousands of stairways in that palace. Like, how did he get there? How do you know to smash it? I mean, I guess, see big glowy thing, you smash. It's like a game. Of course, you see big glowy thing, you either grab it or you break it. That's how games work. And I guess that's how movies work, because that's what happens. So that was pretty stupid. I was just a bummer. I would like to see more with that. Like, oh, you have the shield. Okay, that's how does this play into the battle at hand? Nope. Bring it down 2 seconds after you brought it up.
Yeah, I think it's just meant to like reinforce Mike's point of showing that Asgard isn't quite as invincible as they thought. Just they put up this huge shield and they just knock it down so effortlessly. It's like, okay, maybe they're in trouble here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely showing that that the elves are a force to be reckoned with. That they're not to be pushed around. Is this now? Let me see. I'm just catching myself up in my notes here. So what else do we get? So we have the dogfight. Sorry, I'm just trying to get back to where we were because I think we skipped around a bit. Where are we, Mike?
You did kind of skip.
Michael, please steer the ship.
Where you have, I was reading, where you have like, because during this whole time, like with the prison break, the shield gets broken. It's all kind of the same thing with the dog fights. And you also have like the one ship that crashes into the main room. And all I could think of was Trojan horse. That's all that came through my mind. Yeah. Where the ship crashes, everybody's just waiting. The soldiers are waiting. They have their swords. Another thing I thought about, the Asgardians use sword, shield, and spears, where the Dark Elves just have guns. And they just shoot the fuckers. And one shot kills you. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't the Asgardians have some kind of guns? Like, they have turrets, and we see turrets, but they don't use guns when they're fighting otherwise.
Yeah, their guns felt really sci-fi for some reason.
They are, because
it's like lasers.
And the grenades. The fucking grenade's like a black hole grenade. You just throw it, and they just suck up and turn to bones. And I'm like, ah! And I'm sure Bill was like, oh, this is interesting.
I sure did. Are you kidding me?
And screaming.
Are you kidding me? I cackled.
I know you did. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Bill's going to like this.
Oh, they're great. I love that. It was so creepy and good.
Terrible. Oh.
Well, I mean, they're not.
It really sounds creepy as fuck, too.
Yes, it does. It's very good.
And it was cool. Like, again, the elves creep me out, but I did like that where they all come in. And this is when you have, I mean, the whole reason they're there, too, is to get the ether out of Jane Foster. And since Jane Foster is in Asgard, they went to Asgard because they can apparently locate where she's at and all that. But where Frigga takes her, who's Thor's mother, takes her to a different room and tries to like fight off Malekith with a blade. Like, that was fun. I enjoy that scene a lot.
Yeah,
very fun. It doesn't go so well for her, but it's cool. It's really cool. Like, she holds her own.
Yeah, it's a really good scene actually. Very lots of defiance, and kind of subvert some expectations. It's good.
It's referenced later on to that scene with her in one of the later movies. We'll get to that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In Endgame,
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a few months. But and like I did like after you have, I think it was Malekith, or I can't remember, Malekith or the big elf guy. One of them kills Frigga. I don't write it down, but that whole thing, like where you see Thor rush into the room and then he burns Malekith's face. The point of that is in the comics and every other thing of Malekith. That character always has one face is white, or one side of the face is white, one side is black. A lot like in the original Star Trek series, you have you have an episode kind of like that, and that's why they burn his face, so you get the correct way how he's supposed to look in this
Gotcha.
movie.
Okay, I did not know that. Yeah.
It wasn't just stupidity or like, because it felt unnecessary to me until I realized, oh yeah, they did it because he's supposed to look that way, and they wanted to give him his real look. So they're like, well, how can we do that? We'll burn his face.
Yet they couldn't give Hawkeye his helmet.
I'll never.
Oh, Hawkeye has a helmet? See, I don't even know that. See?
I'm just goading Mike.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna get in anything, damn it. Never gonna get my fucking Funko Pop with Hawkeye in classic costume. All right, enough of that bullshit. But I did like everything where Thor comes in, he's all pissed off, he burns them, he throws them out the window, and then they end up escaping. Like I liked all that. I like it that because he failed, but he's gonna come back. Like we were talking earlier, where you had mentioned how when Odin has that whole speech about Asgard's undefeatable, that's when Thor is trying to convince him, like, hey, they're going to come back and attack us. We need to do something. And Odin just wants to wait and fight, not really think about it.
Does this happen now? Because this is, that was
a little bit later.
That's after the funeral. So
yeah, you have the funeral. You want to mention that?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I mentioned the death scene where I think there's a couple of touching shots in there when Odin's holding her. This is a big problem with this movie, and the problem with this is a big problem here, is that the emotional temperature is very flat. And even though it tries to go up and down, it still maintains a very same frequency, because Thor gives you nothing here. Like, there is no emotion. There is a pained look, if I remember correctly. I don't even remember if he like yells or anything, something stupid. It's just a very flat event. His mom passes, you're expecting this big explosion, and it seems like he's trying to hold it in, but why? Why would you want to? And then, of course, Odin comes in. You had that shot of him holding his wife. Again, that was pretty touching. Just the framing of the shot was really nice. But this is a problem with the movie. It's just very flat. And that's why I think for all of us, this is like a pretty just movie-ass movie where it just kind of skims along this C average and doesn't really excel or do anything horrifically bad. There are some great moments, but this is definitely a reason for this. This is kind of a example of a scene that needed some temperature to it, some gravitas.
Yeah, he should have been a little sadder when she got
wrecked.
killed.
He should have been.
You're right.
Absolutely wrecked. Yeah.
And the funeral was like cool because it reminds you of like the idea with the Viking funerals, where like I do like that part. But again, even throughout all that, you never really see him get really sad like you should. He just wants to attack.
You don't see him. I mean, I don't even think you see him maybe more than a couple of times. You have that entire, it's very pretty, goes forever. Like, how many funeral cliches are you going to do? Chinese lanterns, and we got Valhalla. We're going to set the boat on fire.
Ship over the waterfall.
Ship over the waterfall, but not really, because it floats. It's like, okay, we get it. We haven't seen much of her, to be honest with you, in these two movies. But
yeah, to that point, it just feels like more of that Thor, this isn't earned. Like, this emotion isn't earned. Right. You didn't do enough to set it up to make us care about these characters. It almost feels like there's too many characters and not everyone gets enough time on screen. So it feels like it hurts all around.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, and the two characters who should get the most time don't get nearly enough. And we'll get to that momentarily. I mean, it's fine. I just didn't feel any like heartstring pulls. You're like,
yeah, there isn't a lot of that.
No, it doesn't. Again, just emotionally flat, and that's why a lot of this really just comes off as this very forgettable kind of like C average, as I put it before.
But we got to talk about when you first see Eric Selvig again. When he's giving the speech. Like I remember when I first saw that, I was like, okay, you see him. He has a blackboard. He's writing on a blackboard. He's talking about what's happening in the world. He's giving the audience. And then all of a sudden he picks up a shoe, and I'm like, and then he picks up another shoe, and then you realize. Again, why the hell did he have pencils? I feel like if you're in an insane asylum or something where he's at, you would not have pencils. Yeah. I was like, no, there'd be no pencils in here.
Well, I actually, before we kind of go into that piece, I put a little recap, because at this point, we are exactly halfway through the movie. Like, halfway point. I actually paused it and checked. And so the status we're in now is Thor is a screw up because he led Asgard to destruction because he brought Jane there. If he just listened to his dad saying, put her back on Earth, none of this would have happened. right? Because they were led there by the Aether and all that red stuff.
But then the world would have been destroyed, so Asgard
Yeah.
still would have been destroyed, in theory.
In theory, but at least they would have had a fighting chance. But he feels like his home world has now been destroyed because he brought Jane there, disobeying Daddy and trying to be a good boyfriend. Mom's dead, so we're at that point. The army's been thoroughly trounced. They're no good at anything. Jane is dying from Aether poisoning, and Loki is still in prison, and no one cares. So this is where we're at the halfway point of our fun action movie. Is all of these disastrous dramas, and again, nearly all of them are not earned, like Mike said. So here we are, and then we get this fun little scene featuring a crazy man, a man who is suffering from God knows what. Again, I can't even assume what, again, like he says later on, you try having a god stuck in your head for a couple months or whatever, which is very funny. I don't like this at all. It actually made me very, I don't want to say upset, but it gave me a weird feeling. I don't like the portrayal of people who are mentally hindered or have mental issues as comic relief.
Yeah, it's something from that era, 2013.
Kind of gross.
It wouldn't fly these days.
No, I don't think it would. Yeah.
It's unnecessary. Like, it doesn't, just having him being a fool, especially when it's a case where the guy is kind of suffering PTSD in a sense because of what happened to him. And we're just supposed to laugh. Like, you have the Stan Lee cameo. He's like, oh, I like my shoe back, which is completely unnecessary.
So, yeah.
It's that whole part. You could cut that out. You don't need it.
I mean, the only reason it's even there, because again, in this movie, they really don't think you're paying attention. They're assuming audience. I know you guys. Come on, let's be honest. You're texting, you're eating popcorn, no one's paying attention. We're going to explain the convergence to you 6 times. And we're going to keep explaining what it is. We're going to keep explaining. Guys, just there's 9 realms, right? And every once in a while, they go on top of each other. Cool? Everyone's good? All right, great. Let's have him explain it and have this person explain it. Like 6 times, they explain the convergence. And all he's there to do is very briefly, for a split second, in the midst of all your chuckles about how humorous this man is, tell you about his electromagnetic stakes. That's it. And you hear it for 2 seconds. And then in half an hour, when you actually see them, you still go, what is that? I don't know what those things are. What are those devices? And the movie thinks you've paid attention. You haven't paid enough attention to the movie where you understand the convergence after 2 times, let alone 6. But you're supposed to pick up on those stakes like right there. Because old Chuckle Bones are right there. Old Chuckle Face is just making everyone aghast. It really annoyed me. And it really, again, I just get upset when it upset me. I was like, I don't like, treat this with a little more sensitivity or just don't do it. Like they're sitting in this One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest insane asylum. They're, everyone's kind of like got the long beard. It's so stereotypical. It's just ham-handed. It is really horrendous. And it was honestly just a little upsetting. I was really uncomfortable by it. Yeah, completely. Like
you could have just had Selvig in a place talking to nobody or something, and but they play it, like you said, they played it for comedic effect, which is the problem.
Yeah. It was funny. I was thinking about it. I was just watching it. He was kind of going through the motions and saying, doing his thing, and he's talking about it, and his shirt's all ragged, explaining it. Him turn around as a bunch of stuffed animals, like in chairs. Like I would even like that because that would be something I would do if I was a crazy person. But just have him in this insane asylum. It just, again, the temperature of it and the jokiness was just not.
Just a year, fun. I would say definitely.
Yeah, you think it was only 2013. I mean,
yeah, but we've changed a lot. I mean, look at look where we're at now, 2020.
Yeah. Like, are we more woke now? I guess I don't know.
We're more hidden in our houses. At least we were at the time of this recording. Still, we're starting not really at the time of this recording, but like I would say in the last 7 years since 2013 that jokes about mental health is a lot more being recognized and a lot more they're trying to understand it and not just play it off. It's like people are starting to recognize PTSD more. Like that's in general that's becoming more of a thing. And like the last movie we talked about, Iron Man 3, was all about PTSD. I mean, again, they joked about it too. You just built something. Oh, I'm okay now. Like but
right.
It's just that era.
This movie has another very similar scene here coming up where Eric's just like, okay, I'm not crazy anymore.
Yeah.
I got my friends. I just need a little help from my friend. I mean, that's they just look. Oh, look at that Beatles song. Oh, that's what we'll do. Oh, he's fine now. Yeah.
That's good.
But I did really like the next part where you have it kind of jumping back and forth. You have Thor and his good bros talking about like what they're going to do and how it's crazy, and at the same time you have it happening, and it's jumping back and forth each time they talk about what they're going to do, and then it shows you it happening, goes back, talk what they're going to do next, and it shows it happening. Like, I really like this part. This part is great. Like, you have just, you know, they, oh, we got to rescue Loki, you know, and then you see Loki all in his cell and he looks normal, but then he's like, cut the illusion, and you find everything's broken. He's sitting in the corner crying because he's not okay what happened to his mother. Like, I thought that was really cool to see that.
Yeah. See, and that's earned emotion there. You feel for Loki.
This whole part with the breakout, everything is great. Like, I remember when I first saw it in theaters, you had the Captain America cameo when Thor and Loki are walking down the hallway, and he's like, well, how do you like this? He transformed to Captain America. He's like, oh, a little tight and patriotism and all this. But that's funny, and I'm okay with that being funny. And I was so happy to see Captain America again at that time. It didn't really do it for me this time, but
yeah, I still like it. Like, it fits Loki's character. He's just being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always treat Loki as just petulant and like a child, but a child with incredible intelligence. I really adore that. I think this whole excuse me, like, I agree with you, Michael. This is a great sequence. I love when people are planning out the caper and then the caper's happening. So you're not like, you don't have to, you're playing along with the caper, right? And it's really great. It's the scene where Loki reveals his true emotional state might be my favorite shot of the movie. I think it's shot beautifully. I think that stark white background with the destruction, his foot is bloody, there's flowers on the floor, there's scratches in the wall. Like, it's so good, and it doesn't feel like he's trying to trick anybody. It feels honest. Like, he looks over at Thor and, like, what are you here to do? Mock me? Like, what are you here for? Like, what more can you take from me? And I never get the sense, because with Loki, you always wonder, is he trying to be a trickster or not? Not in this case. I totally didn't get that from this scenario. It's beautiful. And like Mike said, it's earned. It is there's actually that one scene where I think it's a guard tells Loki's before the Eric situation, the Eric scene, where a guard comes up and explains that his mom passed, and as the guard leaves, he turns and you just get this little force, like boom, and he knocks some stuff over with like an anger force thing. So good. And so this is a beautiful shot, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Definitely visually, it's my favorite.
Yeah, this is where, like, this is one of the best parts of the entire movie. Is this whole, like, and they're breaking out Jane, they're escaping on the ship, like everything going on right around here, where you have like the good bros helping him out, and they're each trying to fight the Asgardians. They each are playing a part of like this big master plan to get out of Asgard. And the whole reason they even need Loki makes sense, because they need Loki because he knows an exit out of Asgard because everything else is sealed. Like, it's really cool. It's probably one of the best parts of the movie, because you have dog fights again. You have them trying to drive one of the dark elf ship that was crashed inside the castle that for some reason nobody decided to move. I mean, oh, that's really cool. You have them bickering because he doesn't know how to operate the machine. Like, it's a really good part. Like, I really like this part of the movie.
What did you think on it, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of nailed it there. Like, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, move on.
Okay, but it's just like,
well, yeah. There's just one chime in one more thing. I do I agree with you. I think that's all good. I love the fact that his team Thor, they all get a role. They all get a part to play. Seth, right? Yeah, Seth breaks out Jane and the big dude, this big Hagrid looking dude.
It's Sif.
Sith is the lady.
Sif. Yeah, not Seth.
Oh, Sith. Okay, sorry. Sith breaks out Jane. You have Hagrid dude who's fighting off all of his, and they're also very careful not to kill anybody. They're just incapacitating because they are on the same team and army. You got the rapier guy, D'Artagnan's doing his thing on the flying thing. It was great. It's a really fun scene. There's lots of stakes. There is a stakes here. There is escalating tension. There's risk involved to everybody, because again, you have people that tangentially, like you kind of know them, kind of sorta, his team. So since they're not vital to the Marvel universe, any one of them could bite it and not have any effect. So that actually helps with the tension too. It's actually good you don't know these guys very, very well. And of course, you get to the best part of the movie, one of my favorite parts of the movie, as far as just a thing that develops, is you get to see the relationship between Thor and Loki. It is so good. I adore them together. They feel great. They feel like real brothers. They feel like they're backbiting and they're needling. They're always needling each other. I needed way more of that in this movie than we got, honestly. But for this little blanket of time, when they go through the portal, end up in the Dark World, you get to see them kind of be a reluctant team that neither knows that the other's going to backstab. Or Thor,
because they even make that joke 3 times. We're like, if you betray him, I'll kill you. If you betray him, and then he's like, there'll be a line. Like, it's great.
Yeah. So the whole sequence is pretty fantastic. Yeah.
And it's funny when they're on the ship and they're being chased. He's like, we got to do something. He's like, okay, and he just throws Loki out of the ship. And I like that. I mean, it's all planned because they have a ship down below they're going to get into to make them destroy the elf ship. Like, it was funny though. And at the whole time during this, Loki's also handcuffed because he doesn't trust him.
Rightfully so.
Yes. I was just surprised that when they do take the portal out of Asgard, it leads directly to the Dark Elf realm. That to me felt a little odd. Like I felt like it should have went somewhere else, but maybe they were heading there, and that's why it took them there. I didn't get that part. And you know?
Like, it kind of gives off the Rainbow Road vibe of... Like, when they go through the portal, it kind of looks rainbowy, like whenever Heimdall opens the portal. So I wonder if he can control where it goes.
Yeah, I wonder. To
some degree.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was watching it, I had the energy of, I wonder if this is the portal he used to kind of escape after the end of Thor 1 when everyone thought he died, or, has some way of getting, because obviously he was able to get other places. Or, I mean, I know, I just kind of handled it like, I know this highway goes to the Dark World. I just happen to know that. Why would I be in the Dark World? Who knows? That's what it is.
It was just one of those things that made me wonder, why he just goes there.
Yeah, it's a question. It's a valid question.
Because I mean, if you feel like they had an opening just like that in this tunnel, they would just use that instead of bringing that giant ship. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I was questioning during this movie, but it's not important. And I do like it when you do have them get to the Dark World and you have Thor and Loki arguing because it's Thor and Loki, and like this is another one of the parts where the second half of this movie I really like this. Everything from now on I was on board and more entertained than I was originally, where the movie just kind of felt like it was kind of plodding along to get you here, and then it starts really amping up the movie.
Yeah, this is definitely where I started paying attention.
Like, you have a really quick thing where Selvig gets released from the asylum, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I'm his son," and he just takes him away just because they need Selvig for the final part of the movie. So you got to find some way to make use of Ian that has no purpose in this movie at all to do a purpose and move the plot forward.
Yeah, so this is the part I mentioned earlier where they give him Eric's giant bag of pills, and then as they're leaving the asylum, Ian goes to hand it to him, and he looks at him, and he's like, it's nice knowing that the world's crazier than you are, and then just all of a sudden he's not crazy anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
All you need to know to break out of your mental problem is to realize that you are validated, that you are okay.
Yeah, that's how that works. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
He's built something.
Yeah, he's built something. God dang it. Yeah. So, you're gonna build something. Yahoo!
Hey, at least there's no stupid joke going, "I'm going to leave you like your father did," and just drives off. At least there wasn't that in this movie.
Yeah, at least that wasn't there.
God. And like this whole part where like Loki betrays Thor in quotations, like where I like it where I forget exactly what he does. He stabs Thor, throws him down the mountain. He's like, "I brought you a gift, Malekith." And that whole part is just, I remember seeing that in theaters. I'm like, oh my God. Because I when I first saw it, I thought for sure it was actually betraying him because it would fit the character. That's what Loki would do, in my opinion.
It just gives more credence to the fact that he wanted to come here for that reason, but then
you find out it's not like what you think. And again, he cuts off he tries to grab the hammer and he cuts off his hand. There's another movie that does it, another hand cut off in phase 2.
Yes.
It happens.
That's right.
There's more than just this one, but this is part of the hand cut off because, as I said before, and I'll say again, every phase 2 movie, someone gets an arm cut off because of Empire Strikes Back. It's kind of stupid, but it's really small. Like, if you don't know it's there, you won't even think about it. It happens in every movie, but I read that somewhere now. I'm like,
wow, that's a really confirmed thing. Like,
yeah, it's a real thing. I
going through the rest of the phase 2 list, and I'm like, yeah, okay, someone loose in there, and that one. I can't remember one in Ant-Man though.
I can tell you. Well, I know where it is.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I think it's every movie. That's wild.
I could have swore. Yeah, I even found the article that says it is a Star Wars tribute. It's a real thing. It wasn't just an accident. It was something that they purposely did because of Empire Strikes Back.
That's wild.
But yeah, this is effective. Especially again, watching it again, I kind of realized, okay, obviously there's gonna be a trick because Thor doesn't walk around the MCU for the rest of his life with no hands. But I was like, all right, I'm waiting for it. Wait for it. And finally, when it comes, it's like, oh, it's very clever. What's nice about this scene too is you get a chance, and this is when Loki is squaring off with the foot soldiers, and Thor is squaring off against the cursed, and Malik is just kind of.
Well, he just drained the ether, so he's just like, fuck it, I'm done. I got what I wanted. Right. He gets in the ship. He's like, oh, I already sacrificed all my people before. I'll sacrifice these guys too.
Yeah. This is good. The Thor versus Cursed battle, it's fine. Again, it's just big dudes throwing stuff at each other. It's kind of like a heavyweight bout. It's not terribly interesting. The Loki one's fun. Him just, again, using his daggers, some trickery, some athleticism. Very fun. Cool to see him doing things that we haven't really seen him do much of in the series. We have, like, when we were in the Frost world, we saw him do some of that, but it was really, really fun to see that. And then, of course, the big trick at the end, Thor attempts to blow up the Aether. He does not.
Oh, is that right after? Oh, that was right after this. Yeah. That was during this, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he takes it out, it shows up that the whole thing was illusion. His hand is really still there, and he does try. Okay, he didn't try to blow up the ether.
Well, the start of all this was when Loki fake stabs Thor, and then Malik sees that, and he's like, "Oh, well, this is perfect. I can go up there and just get my prize." And that's when the big trick.
Okay.
They attempt to blow up the Aether. And then
the Berserker fight is right after all this. After he takes it, we were just saying, then he leaves.
Right. Okay. And that's the thing's name, Berserker.
That's what I called him.
The Cursed.
Okay. I just called him Cursed. Yeah.
Cursed is his real name. Berserker is what I saw him as.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
To me.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Because that's right. Malik already leaves. He's gone. He got his Aether. He's out. He care less about anybody else. What do you think of the actor who plays Malik while he's walking away with full of Aether?
Christopher Eccleston.
That's right.
His name.
Christopher
He
Eccleston.
played Doctor Who for one season.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I never watched it, but I've seen one episode and I went, "Oh yeah," and that was about as far as I ever went.
Yeah, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but
he's okay. The only movie I've ever seen him in was he's the villain in Gone in 60 Seconds.
That is exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
So
I've seen that movie probably 30 times.
I love that
movie. Fucking good movie.
It was my first DVD. It was the first DVD I've ever owned. Was Gone in 60 Seconds.
So good of a movie too.
That's good.
But I mean, he's okay. Like, he's a fine actor. Like, I think he did this part fine. I mean, half the movie he's not even speaking English at all in this movie. He's speaking some other language, so you have subtitles. Like, he did a fine job playing Malekith and putting on a costume and waving his hands around and doing CG stuff. Like, it was fine. I had no problem with him.
Yeah, decent amount of scene chewing. Always good.
Yeah, and he's a fine actor too. Like, but I do really like the fight with Loki when you get to see Loki just take out all these soldiers like nothing. Like, that is such a cool scene where you finally get to see Loki fight in this movie, because most of the movie he's chained up and stuff, and I want to say he's the one that saves Thor's life too, and then ends up dying in quotation to the cursed guy.
Yeah, right. Where he throws the grenade. Or no, that was before.
But the grenade, he does throw the grenade, and that's what kills the cursed, and that's the one that's the creepiest one, where you really hear all the bones are cracking, and it's taking forever, and he's screaming. I was just like, I did not like it, and like I said before, Bill was like, I knew Bill would like it.
Oh, I started tap dancing. That's how much I enjoyed it.
That's probably your favorite part of the movie.
I was so there for it. Listen, this is well-worn territory at this point.
Yeah.
How much I like when bones twist around and do creepy things in comic book movies.
It's gonna go on for a while.
It's fine.
But and this is also where Loki dies. Like, I when I first saw this, I thought he died when he gets stabbed. Like, I really believed he was dead. Too. He looks dead. He's not.
He sure plays the part well though.
Yeah, and it was good. Like, Tom Hiddleston's such a great actor too.
He outshines everybody. He is. Yeah, every time he's on screen, like I've said this before about other actors in this whole series we've done, every time he's on screen, he's the best actor there. I would say argue Anthony Hopkins. I think he probably outacts Anthony Hopkins as Odin. Yeah, he's an extraordinary actor, and this scene is actually very good. Again, this is more earned, right? This is an earned thing where Thor is starting to really lament, and kind of that hold on, the usual thing. It's effective. Death scenes are effective because there's only so many ways to do them. Sorry, death scenes sometimes are ineffective because there's only so many ways you can do them, right? Only so many ways you can blubber. Only so many ways you can hold on. So it really hinges on the connection between the characters and the actors doing the good work, because you really can't write much death scene. and they both do exceptional jobs. You can really tell Hiddleston really sells this longing to reconnect with Thor, and too little too late. Thor tells him, I will tell father what you did here today. Loki responds, I didn't do it for him. Really good stuff. Yeah, it's great. It's a great scene.
And this is a weird part that I had completely forgotten about when we went back to watch this movie, where they walk into a tunnel, and in this tunnel, as Mike had brought up earlier, she finds the keys, and her phone starts ringing, and it's the loser boy, the guy she dated at the dinner where she didn't even talk to him. He's calling her to see how she's doing. That part was funny. She's like, "Don't hang up, don't hang up." He's like, "Okay."
Standing at a copier. I dug that. Yeah, it's fine. A little devicey, a little kind of scripty. I was like,
I laughed.
Yeah, but it got what I needed. It was a little bit of levity that was earned. I was like, earned. Sure, why not? I enjoyed it. I didn't bother me too much, but it is one of those things you just have to write in to get us moving and get us back to Earth.
You gotta get back to Earth somehow, so why not?
Yeah, and it pays off the whole scene, because you see all the stuff they were throwing, the bricks, the shoes. It shows it kind of pays off the portal. Certain things don't just return back. Why? Who knows? Gravity, science, fine.
Comic booky.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was. Yeah, like you said, Mike, we have to get back to Earth somehow, and we do.
And I like it as just a portal. I mean, again, after just playing Portal kind of makes me laugh, but it's like, this is when they really get crazy on the portals coming up here in a little bit. But, okay, did you guys laugh at the part when they go in Jane's apartment and he just puts the hammer on the coat rack and just...
Sure did.
Absolutely.
Sure did.
I laughed
Very
too.
funny. Him in just large Nordic man in small house is really funny. And get him kind of sort of out of water.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very, very good. It's when he's at his best, I think.
That's what made the first one good. It was just all the stuff of fish out of water stuff. So it's nice to see some of that in this one.
Yeah, they don't do it a lot in this movie, but this is one of the few times where I felt like they did do it. And it worked, though.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Thor doesn't spend a whole lot of time on Earth to begin with.
No.
We have where he picks up Jane, and then this scene, and then, basically the rest of the movie. But, yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity to show this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he exactly what I was going to say. He this is a very much so a Asgard movie. This is not an Earth movie. This is, it's saving Asgard, saving the universe through Asgard, and Earth is basically just where Jane lives.
Yeah, it was a little I'm okay that they stayed away from Earth for most of this movie. It doesn't really bother me. I'm completely okay with it, because it's fun seeing seeing Asgard and seeing the other worlds. I mean, I could have kind of done without seeing the freaking blank Malekith world all the time, because they really love that. But other than that,
yeah, the Dark World's kind of just boring. But I agree. I think Asgard's much more interesting than small town Kansas. No offense to anybody who lives in small town Kansas, but hey, if I had a choice between a magical city full of Norse gods and small town Kansas, sorry, I don't like basketball that much. So off to Asgard I go. I
thought in Kansas they just played football for the Smallville. What the fuck? Crows. The Smallville
Crows. Yeah.
Okay. I see now.
There you go,
references. Yeah.
It's just Mike bringing in Smallville again.
I haven't finished it. I'm on season 8, episode 1, and we stopped, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, did you give up?
Yeah, we're watching One Tree Hill now instead.
Wow. Okay.
But by the time I'll be done. But I enjoyed the Jane's apartment where they're all kind of figuring out. And then also what Mike had said earlier, where you have another part where he's like, I better go get some pants. And it's all of a sudden, everything's not okay. And he's not wearing pants because he thinks better. They have a little line about that. And then all of a sudden you have something to do. He puts on pants and he'll be okay. That was a little, again, it's kind of you don't just shake off what happened.
Yeah. The one thing I will just jump back real quick to Asgard when we realize that Loki's actually alive, because we're in the Dark World. My wife had to point this out to me because I was writing notes. I missed it. And she's like, oh, Loki's back alive. I go, what?
There's a very small scene.
Yes.
When Thor doesn't go to Asgard till after all the next scene. But there is a small scene where Loki ends up, a guard goes there. He all of a sudden you see the little green light and the guard walks away, goes to Odin and tells Odin Loki died, or we found a body. He's like, Loki.
He says we found a body, which is the implication it was Loki. Then you see the shot of him doing the evil Loki grin, which is not Loki. It's another actor that he's masquerading as. So good. Also, wife pointed out this as well. It's the same when he's walking with Thor, pretending to be Captain America and then changing into this and changing to that. Yeah. That's the guard. That's his guard costume. It's the same costume he uses when he's walking along that corridor with Thor, needling him. That's the costume he uses to trick Odin into thinking he is Loki's dead. It is awesome. And I didn't get very either, brief. So. And again, I was probably writing a note and James like, oh, Loki's dead or Loki's alive. And I'm like, what? So there it is.
Okay. And then this is after all this is when they go to Greenwich, which is like the last chapter of the movie, I think is a good way to put it, where you have it's time for big action scene now because we need to have a big action scene before you leave the theater so you leave all excited and forget about all the nonsense you've been watching for the last hour and a half. So like I enjoy when Malekith shows up, the ship shows up again, because and they even give like a little thing where how in Greenwich is like this connector where all the realms are being connected for this one point, and they mentioned like Stonehenge and a couple other real things that I didn't know what they were. That he draws a map earlier. I can't remember even what they were, but I never heard of them. But I'm also not from England, so
yeah, they were just kind of like points on just like convergence points for the audience to know that the final battle is going to be in Greenwich.
Okay,
so I don't know. I don't really know what they were.
I like when Thor and Malekith do start fighting though. Like I enjoy this scene is fun. Like you have them trying to fight and Malekith is kind of holding his own with the ether and fucking up Thor, and then you have Jane and the other people who had set up those stupid like pipe things that he'd been carrying throughout this and that he had earlier in the movie. They set him up, and then because of the little device she has, she's able to make portals and zap elves here and zap elves there to kind of help fight or something. It's kind of weird.
It's nonsensical. That's what it is. It makes no damn sense.
Hey, you have to have the portal so that way when Darcy and Ian are kissing earlier after he saves her life, when he takes the car, they can teleport in front of Jane. She's like, "What are you doing, Darcy?" Like she cares that she's making out with some other guy.
They just need to give Jane something to do. She doesn't have the ether anymore, so they had to give her this so she can still be in the movie.
Yeah, she's literally done nothing all movie except be a carrier for a universe-destroying creature or thing or element. And yeah, now they give her a Game Boy give her an iPad. Let's just give her a little more updated. They gave her an iPad with some touch games, and she just started throwing portals places.
I just wrote in my notes. I just wrote portals. That's all I wrote.
Yeah, Mike. I'm gonna let you, Mike, go first on this scene. This climactic scene of jumping and smashing and breaking.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun visuals. It's cool to see things warping around, and just, like somehow it's still easy to follow, even though everything's still jumping around and people are going between the realms. They bring the giant beast thing. What's he call him? He called
the ice monster from Heaven. Yeah.
Is it the?
I just called him Dog, Ice Dog.
Nice dog. That's good.
In Avengers, when he's talking to Coulson, was it Bilge Snape? It's like you
I don't know.
You know Bilge Snape's here? Big ferocious beast. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
It's just kind of cool to see, and even when the portals are open, you can see Hell and you can see Vanaheim, and it's just kind of nice to see all the 9 realms, even if we're not spending any time in any of them. I don't know. It's cool.
I personally, I think it is overwhelming. It is done way too much, way too fast. I feel like it's almost the movie's trying to rush towards the end. Like a director was looking at the time, like, oh dang, 20 minutes. Jesus Christ, we filmed 40 minutes of this fight. How do we get this down to 20? Or said the editor. I wasn't a big fan of it. I did think it was fun. It made for a lot of fun little jokes and fun little moments. So, for example, the ice monster coming back, that's a fun little movie. Eating the one guy, that's a cute moment. The cute moment where Thor and Malek are like smashed against the side of the window and they're sliding down.
I laughed at that.
Yeah, they're fun. There's lots of fun little things that arise from this, but I think the execution is just way too frenetic, way too, well, hey, let's just throw a bunch of stuff in your face so you don't wonder what's happening. So here's distraction scene. And I was just kept thinking, well, wait, why is this happening? Like, I'm trying to think it through, because right now it's just like magic and silliness, and like you've literally gone off the rails as far as this fight scene goes. So I just wasn't as big of a fan of it. And I remember thinking the exact same thing when I saw it, I guess 8 years ago or 7 years ago, whatever it is now. Yeah, it just didn't catch me as exciting as I think the movie wanted me to think it. I just wish they just slowed the pace down, and explain what those dumb stakes do. I don't know. The stakes make portals happen.
There is a comment that says they're there to detect anomalies, but they don't really go into anything more than that.
Yeah, that's a comment. And you guys are flying through because, oh, here's the map. Here's the convergence. Let's go. Put my pants on. Get into the truck. Ian, go. It's like criminy. I did like the little scene where Ian saves Darcy from the car because he gives him something to do. But then I realized he's saving Darcy. Wow.
Well, hey, look at the bright side. You will never see Darcy again, except apparently she's in WandaVision.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
So.
All right.
I don't know why. I was looking her up, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing in WandaVision? But apparently she's supposed to be in that. So.
Well, Ian, if you get this chance again to save Darcy from a falling car, don't. And if you could like push Hawkeye under there too, just get them both out of the way in one shot, that'd be awesome.
Come on, bro. What are you saying, bro?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That, only one person gets that joke right now.
Yep.
There is a Mew Mew joke in this movie. There is one when the hammer goes by. She's like, Mew Mew.
What was that?
Stupidity. Comic
what was
relief?
Mew Mew? No. What is Mew Mew?
Oh, it's what she
the hammer.
called Mjolnir in the first movie. He's like, I need to go get Mjolnir, and she's like, Mew Mew. What's Mew Mew?
Oh,
So
see,
it's just a callback.
I blanked that horrendous reference from my memory.
Well, speaking of horrendous things, so Mike, what did you think of the part where after Thor gets teleported at one point, he gets on a fucking train and rides a train back to the fight?
How do I get to Greenwich? So I take this train for 3 stops.
It's stupid, but I'm sorry, Mike. I almost stole your thunder. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. I just like Mjolnir kind of just flying around trying to catch up with wherever Thor is as he's teleporting around. Or it flies into space and then he's back on Earth, so it U-turns to get back to him.
Yeah, that moment when the hammer flies into space, that's when I think I don't think I audibly said it, but I should have. What is going on here? Like, what is happening? We're in space now. And it's funny that Mike, you thought it was easy to follow. I gave up following. I just stopped trying, and I just
maybe I'm just being I'm being overly generous because this is the one part of the movie that I find entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. Oh, see, that's the thing. All right, so it's definitely entertaining from just like and I don't sound dismissive when I say stuff on the screen, stuff on the screen, just throw it up there. Lots of stuff, distraction. Never mind the fact that we didn't explain what these things are, because sometimes that can be fun, sometimes that's entertaining. And I get that. I was just hoping for more context, just didn't have that context. And also with that scene in the subway, I really like that. It is so stupid, but it's so cute. The subway bumps and she makes the lady next to Thor makes it as an excuse to touch his chest. I was like, oh, that's cute.
I guess him on the train is more that fish out of water stuff because it's like,
yeah, exactly.
He's on a train.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that funny? He doesn't take the subway. He should fly, but he does, and he takes it 3 stops. And you know what? Not for nothing. Didn't pay the fare. Didn't pay to get on that train. Just showed up and got on the train. Come on, man. Get yourself a pass. But I don't know. I thought it was a lot of good stuff there. I also really enjoyed the not to go through it shot by shot. I'll stop now. But the final thing I really liked was in their library, I think it was, or a college. Yeah, it was like a library.
Yeah.
And all the kids were standing there, and Jane is like, "Get away from there! What's dangerous? Something's gonna happen." And he goes, a guy turns to her and goes, "Yeah, but Thor's out there, and he's doing the hammer thing." And then 2 scenes later, all the glass smashes and covers them.
It's great.
Like, yay! You guys all have lacerations. Tee. That was very funny.
Got the picture for Facebook.
I got your picture for Instagram. Well, I get that point. Yes, to be Facebook.
And then you have like the realms merging during this fight. And again, Malekith gets his arm cut off. I don't remember how, but something to do with the ether. Something happened, but his arm gets cut off.
Yeah, it's when Thor goes into the big ether tornado and he throws the spikes into his arm and Jane teleports him away.
I forgot about that. That's how much I just watched this last night and I already completely forgot about that.
See, this is when I was paying attention.
Hey, see, we back each other up. We back. Yeah, that's the final thing. They're just standing there. Basically, he's almost completely combined the aether with the with the convergence. It's just starting to leach into all the different realms. We see that, and then just standing there. Well, we have these stakes. We could do something with them, but we can't get close.
I mean, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Throws him at him.
So he has to do it. I get it. They can't walk into an ether cloud. He can. And stabs him with the sword, stabs him with the stake, arms, and then she, like you said, Mike, teleports him into the Dark World. And then
they crush him with a ship.
They crush him with the sword ship.
it just felt kind of odd, but I mean, it worked because they had to get rid of the ship somehow. So they just dropped the ship on him and kill him that way.
Yeah, it felt weird. It felt very anticlimactic. Like it didn't. It was just you zap him into the Dark World, which we've seen before, and then I don't know, drop a ship on him. I guess because
that Dark World so fucking ugly though. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be because it's, the ruins of a battle where you killed millions of people, we're going to say. So it kind of can make sense, but it was kind of weird to me.
Yeah. I just, it falls, it smooshes them, and then everything's okay. And we end up with that's it. Basically, that's the story. And then we have a couple of quick little plot ties to tie up with. Mike, what did you think of the ending, Mike? Or the final dispatching of Malik?
Like you guys said, it's just anticlimactic. Like, we just need to end the movie, so just we'll throw the ship on him and be done with it.
Yeah, and Thor sets it up because he says something to the effect of, "Yes, you're all powerful, but you can be killed." Like I think Malik may have said, "I'm a god," and Thor's like, "No, because you can be killed." And I guess killing him is not smashing him with Thor power hammers and with the most powerful weapon on the face of the universe. It's throw him into a dark world and drop a spaceship on him. Well, I guess that does it. And I guess that does it for the Aether too. Because does the Aether even leave him? Like
supposedly somehow because of the scene coming up. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have questions about that too. But anyway, so he's gone.
It doesn't. They don't explain things.
Yeah. R.I.P. Christopher Ellickson.
And then you have, as I wrote in my notes, breakfast and no Thor. You have sad Jane Foster sitting there eating her cereal, and there's no Thor. And there's something about a comment about he didn't come back. And I think this is like right out when she's sitting there talking to Bill's favorite character, Darcy. I want to say that's when Thor ends up teleporting down and she runs outside to kiss him.
That's in the end credit scene.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
This
okay, never mind. This is just breakfast, no Thor.
This is breakfast, no Thor.
I even have that in my notes, but apparently I don't know how to read notes.
Yeah, no, this is a completely useless scene. It'd been funny if Mopey Jane was sitting there with Mopey Eric and Darcy, not really emoting or having any empathy at all. And all of a sudden just Bruce Banner walks in. So we have Mopey Bruce and Mopey Jane, and Bruce puts his hand on her shoulder.
So the next scene is the end of the movie where you have Thor telling Odin he's leaving because he committed treason and everything else, and he has to go, and he's going to go protect Earth. And then that's when you find out that I talking to Odin. Odin say, "You'll always be my son," or like, "Even if a king was proud of you, I couldn't say," or something of that. And that's when then, as he walks away, then you see that it's actually Loki, not Odin, because Odin is in a old folks home. You find out later on in the next movie, years from now.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
he dropped him off in an old folks home.
Yeah, it's in Ragnarok.
Okay, man, it's funny. I saw Ragnarok a couple of years ago, but I watched it on my phone during lunch breaks for a couple of days. I did not see it in its full intended glory, so there's a lot I don't remember, and I'm really looking forward to whenever we get to that again, because I remember loving it. It's great. Yeah, it's good. Good
That's
movie.
the Thor movies by far.
Yeah, I think I agree.
And that's gonna be an interesting episode.
And then you have the first set of credits, and then this is when you also get where you first see the Collector, which is a reference to a movie coming out in 2 movies from this, where you have Guardians of the Galaxy, and they take the ether, which is some reason in a little canister, to the Collector to hold. Which is the
Infinity Stone, right? That's basically the second, the first for him, but yeah, it's the second Infinity Stone we've seen.
Yeah, they make a comment where they don't want 2 Infinity Stones in the same place.
Yeah, we hadn't mentioned it up to this point, but the Aether is actually the Reality Stone, so that explains all the weird gravity and the portals and stuff. It all stems from one of the stones.
And in Guardians of the Galaxy, because I had to look all this up, because I'm like, what is that stone? I know that's the Infinity Stone. Is that the stone they're chasing around in Guardians of the Galaxy?
No,
right?
The one in Galaxy is the Power Stone.
That's okay. Yeah, the Power Stone. Okay, right. So the Collector has the first one. He goes 5 to go. Yeah, it's a neat little scene. I don't know how they got their hands on it.
Yeah, that's not explained.
That's not explained, right?
No.
Okay, great, good. So yeah, just the lady whose name I'll never remember, and I think Sith it was Hagrid
and
Sith,
big guy.
Sith and Hagrid.
Hagrid.
That's what I kept thinking, is Hagrid.
I kept thinking of Gimli.
Dude, that's a good. Yeah, Gimli's good too. Sure. They go to the Collector and they have this little moments, and the Collector is extremely creepy. I like him a lot. I wish he's involved more. I don't remember how much in Guardians he's really involved.
He's only in a couple scenes.
He's only in a couple, right? Because
like he does the whole Infinity Stone backstory, which I guess we'll get to in that movie. But yeah, he's not in it a whole lot.
Yeah, because that's Benicio del Toro, and he is just anyway. Yeah, it's a decent scene
in that movie, unlike Last Jedi. But hey, so
that's right. He's in Last Jedi, basically the same character.
Yeah, I fucking hate Last Jedi. But there's a scene in this movie that doesn't make any sense probably to most people. You see a giant cocoon in the background in one of the cases. That's supposed to be Adam Warlock cocoon.
Who is Adam Warlock? I don't know.
I knew. Yeah, he is a character that's involved heavily with the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's like the one that defeats Thanos, which they never touched on that arc yet. They completely skipped it for the Infinity Gauntlet series the 2 movies that we got. But that's who he is in the comics. He's also referenced again in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when they say something about get him. Him is also Adam Warlock. So there's references to him, but he's never has not been in the movies yet.
Yeah, because in the stinger for that, when we see the cocoon again, I want to say the gold people are in a room with the big cocoon.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. It's been a long time. I blocked out. And then after the final credits, that's when you get what I was thinking of earlier, Jane sad, and then Thor comes back.
Yeah, this is another useless scene. Useless.
Yep. What a weird thing to have as the stinger. Like, you would think that would be tacked on the end of the movie. Yeah, and then put the collector scene at the end as the stinger.
Yeah, because the stingers are more of continuing the universe, not it should have they should have flipped these two, or just put just put this part in the movie after he tells Odin, just have this scene. Like, it didn't need to be after the credits. That seemed kind of like a weird editing thing, but I guess they were really jumping on the fact that after Avengers, everyone stays the end of the movie, so they put a scene in the end of the movie that feels like it should have been part of the movie.
I suspect it probably was. I mean, I can't imagine it not being part of the movie, because it's eventually the same shot that it leads into, and then of course Thor comes and they have the kiss, and then you have your silly little goofy, ice monster chasing a bunch of birds, which is very cute. And ice dog, which basically what that is. Very cute, fun, fine. I wonder why they did that though. That's a very interesting question. Why did you not just put that in your movie? Like, it's not like you were trying to like cut time, because it's still a trim hour 59. Like, it's just hits the 2-hour mark by a minute. I don't know. Like, I don't know why you just didn't do that. The only thing I can think of is that they didn't want to be cheesy and end with a big kiss, and they didn't want to have the up and down tonal shift of big triumphant return and kiss, and then the downplay of Odin, Loki is now on the throne. Which of course is like the villainous ending. Maybe they were trying to maintain an evenness, so you have this downtrodden moment of them missing Thor, and then you have this. But again, that goes back to the whole thing of this movie where it's so flat and there's no jumps. I think you could have just done that. I think the way they ended it with Loki is best. Yeah. But you could have put that dumb scene, or how about this? Let's rewrite the movie for him. You do that dumb ending. She's in there eating breakfast. Thor shows up. Big smooch. But credits. Then after your main credits, your mid-credit scene, let that be your Loki and Odin scene. Because everyone's sticking around. No one's leaving. And then you do something stupid with a mice monster chasing birds at the end.
Yeah, it was funny, but it was completely unnecessary. But I'm okay when they have completely unnecessary scenes at the very end, like when you're talking about the dog chasing the birds.
But I'm okay with those. Like, those are throwaway. I do agree with you, though. I think the end credit scenes should be pointers or teasers towards the next movies. I think that's when they're most effective. If they're just a silly little thing, they better be really, really good silly thing.
Yeah, I mean, they normally are connection. Later on, a lot of them are connection to other movies. And as we had mentioned last episode, this the short that came out on this Blu-ray was the one that talks about the Mandarin. But we said that in the episode it belonged on instead of this one, just so people know.
And we also decided not to watch the other ones because we know there are more, but we just didn't.
There's two more, and one is a pilot to what becomes the Peggy Carter show. We might just watch Carter at some point on this as an episode, so we don't need to talk about it. It's not
sweet.
Oh, and should we? Any last things you want to say about the movie before we go to Shelf or Box?
It's not very good.
Okay, Mike, why don't you go first?
Well, it's going on the shelf. No, it's going in the box. Like, this movie, I've said it multiple times now, just ultimately forgettable. It's like they knew they had to make a Thor movie, and they knew they had to make a movie to introduce the Reality Stone, and like, how do you do either of those? So they just threw them together. Like, okay, we'll just do this. We'll put some director that no one knows, because he had done, what, 4 movies before this, we'd said? Or 3 or whatever?
Yeah,
3
3 or 4.
So it's just like, they put all this stuff. It's like they expected people not to care for some reason. They just had to introduce this stuff, so they did it. They just made the movie, and whatever happened with it at that point, they were raking in money, so they didn't. There was no stakes in it. I don't know.
That's a good way
I
to
wasn't
put it.
into it. I liked it more than Iron Man 3, barely. But yeah, both movies. I liked the last scene, and that was pretty much it.
Okay, I'll go next because I was torn between this movie. Like before we watched this was easily a shelf. Then we watched it. Well, I was torn, and then we talked about it for 2 hours. Easy box. I enjoyed it. I was a little distracted and kind of paying attention to my phone at different parts. I mean, partly for note taking, partly because I just kind of wasn't. But I mean, it's a fine movie. If you just, it's not bad. It didn't hurt me or anything like other movies that we watched on this show. It was fine. It's just a movie. It's not great. It's not exceptional. It's just a movie's going in the box. How about you, Bill?
I am actually going to put this on the shelf, and I kind of wavered on this too last night.
That's why I had him go last.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Wait, no, on the shelf, the box. Dang it, no,
okay,
get on the
okay.
shelf. The box. Sorry.
Wow, I got off the shelf real fast there.
Yeah, sorry, I had to kick. Sorry, I got confused. It's going in the box, and the main reason for it is if you're gonna make a mistake, if you're gonna err when it comes to filmmaking, I'd rather you err on the side of bad but interesting instead of boring and safe. And this movie is very boring and safe. It does have its moments. It's got good actors in it. Good actors are going to do good work. Fine, some fun action scenes, but in the end, it's too much of an emotional flatline. As I think I said early in the show, it's as about as a C. It's like a C movie, and C movies don't really need to go on my shelf. Not to be elitist or anything, I'll put a interesting D movie on the shelf over just a ho-hum, average, shrug your shoulders, action Marvel C movie. So yeah, this is gonna go in the box. So so long, Asgardian. See you in Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, which is a way better movie.
Oh yes, yes it is. Oh, I can't wait for this. That'll be spicy. This is good. I'll have to see it on a screen that's not 3 inches wide. Maybe my opinion will change.
I think it will, especially after you've seen all the movies coming up to it. But all right, we should introduce what we're going to be talking about next week, or next episode, not next week. Next episode is going to be Captain America: The Winter Soldier, one of the freaking best MCU movies in my opinion.
Yep, I'm super excited about that one.
Hopefully my opinion doesn't change. I'll be very, very sad if it changes.
Hopefully we can be less pessimistic, because we've had a downtrodden run here lately. So I'm looking forward to getting to the good movies.
Yeah, because we did Avengers we weren't exactly excited about, like we were supposed to be, and then we did. Yeah, it hasn't been the best for us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this with a sober mind and actually remembering what was in it. I swear to you, I barely remember this movie. But I remember thinking it was good, and there's a central reason why it's good, but I'll save that until next time.
Were we talking about that in the recording, or was that before the recording?
How
you can bring it up during the episode.
Yeah, just remind me to bring up my story of the first time I saw.
It'll be a nice tease for the listeners.
Winter Soldier. It's not. Don't tease it too much. It's not that good, but
it is funny.
It's an entertaining little anecdote.
It's better than Dark World Stinger was.
Well, yes, that is true.
All right. First, I want to thank everyone for taking time off to listen to this episode. We also have done plenty of other MCU movies up until here, so definitely check those out. We also do weekly episodes of different games, and there's at this point well over 80 or 90 by the time you're hearing this. Well over 80 to listen to, so definitely check those out. I think well over 80. I don't know. We're at 73 as of this recording, so I don't know when I'm published exactly, but so check those out. I also do comic episodes, everyone. Check those out. Want to give an awesome shout out to our awesome intro, courtesy of Bulby, aka Mike Stoney from his EP Bite the Bullet, song The Cool Kid Squad. So check him out and go watch these movies. Hopefully by us talking about them, make you want to go watch them on Disney Plus, and then you can have your heart break just like mine when I realize some of these are not as good as I remember. Okay.
Yeah, I imagine there's someone who's thinking like, well, they can't be that bad as these guys are making it out to be.
I had high thoughts of Thor Dark World last time I saw it before Age of Ultron. Then I went and rewatched it. And my thoughts are not high anymore, unfortunately.
No. I'm still looking forward to get to Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
Me too. I'm curious.
We'll see how it holds up. And for the people that hate us bringing up a Hulk reference every episode, here's one without it until the very end.
I brought it up earlier.
Did you? I missed it.
I brought up I had a Bruce Banner reference, and then Michael actually really very quickly was like, "Sure, I'm going to talk now. Be quiet." Totally stepped over it, which was probably valid.
Yeah, well.
All right.
It can't all be gold.
We will see everybody next time. All right, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where I post things. All right, we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
I'll just stay here and say Seabass alone.
Seabass. Seabass.